Welcome to Yellow Cardinal Tarot with me. My name is Carol. This is going to be a general reading for the month of June 2024 for the sign of Taurus. So in today's reading, Taurus, what we're going to do is we're going to be doing the Yellow Cardinal Cross. And I'm going to be using the Rider-Waite deck, and I'll be starting off by looking at what issue you're dealing with right now, what situation you may be sitting in, if it's a problem. Sometimes it's a pattern that's showing up in your life that, you know, it's something that you've seen before and you're like, what's this showing up for again? And yeah, so it could be a decision. I'm not sure if I said that. And then what we're going to do is number 2 is going to be another card that I'm going to pull out right on top, and that'll clarify it. Or maybe tell me sort of what's obscuring the situation that you're sitting in. And then I'm going to be looking at number 3, the conscious influence on this situation that you're sitting in. And by that I mean, I want to know what you're consciously aware of that's influencing this situation. And then on the right, I'm going to be looking at what is the unconscious influence, number 4. And that's really the important one, because that's going to come from our unconscious. And it's something that we're not going to be aware of. It'll be hidden. And so really, essentially, it's going to be coming from your shadow. And so we're going to be doing a little bit of shadow work in number 4. So if you're not familiar with shadow work or the term shadow, I've left a really good video for you, and it's called My Powerful 4-Step Guide for Shadow Work. And I've left it for you in the description box. And it really is a fantastic guide for learning about how to face your own shadow, because there is a lot out there about the shadow and facing it. And I've been on my own intensive healing journey, shadow work journey, for the last 7 years, and to heal my own complex trauma. So what I've done is I've put this together. It's kind of a compilation of everything I use, all the tools that I use. I've been working with a life coach for those 7 years and still do. Still am doing the work, because, we're always growing and there's always work to do. And then number 5 is we're going to look at what's needed for a resolution. And number 6 will be some guidance from the tarot. So that'll be good, because that'll get you kind of going in the right path that you need to go on to start to help you with this situation. And then at the end, I'll recommend some videos that I've done myself. And you can have a look at those. And those come from my other channel called Carol Cares. And that is a channel specifically geared towards helping you on your healing journey. So let's get started, Taurus. I'm going to start off with asking the tarot for either a card or 2 to come out for the situation you're dealing with, and a clarifier for it. Doesn't want to speak. Okay, so I have 2 cards here, and I have one here is the 7 of Wands will be your situation that you're sitting in right here. And what's obscuring that is the 5 of Pentacles in reverse. I will pull out some clarifiers, and I'll use the Tarot of Abyss by Tourian as we go through this. Okay, so I need the conscious influence, and I'm going to put that one over here. So let's move these a bit. So I need something over here, Tarot. Conscious influence. What's Taurus aware of right now concerning this situation? That one wanted to come out. The Knight of Swords. And what are they unconsciously aware of here? Well, they're not aware of it, but sorry, what's the influence? I meant to say, not the awareness, but the influence here. So this is your conscious influence. And then your unconscious influence. So what's coming up from your shadow here? Sometimes I have a tendency to call it something else. I apologize. Okay. 6 of Cups in reverse here for the unconscious influence. I think I'm going to move these over because I think we have room. And at the top, we want to know what's needed for resolution in this situation. What's needed for resolution? 1 card, please. The Ace of Pentacles. And at the bottom, guidance from the tarot here. Some guidance from the tarot, please. The 10 of Pentacles in reverse. All right. So, I'm going to start off with talking about, I did a reading for you, Taurus, the beginning of the year, and it was a yearly reading, and I pulled out 12 cards for you for 2024. And I have them all in my description box if you want to take a look at that. And so what I did is I went into that and I pulled out the card that I had for you in June. And that was the 3 of Cups. The 3 of Cups card. This is a feminine energy card. You can see them celebrating here. They're celebrating with their cups. They're celebrating, and when normally when we're celebrating something, it's joy, right? Where we can get into like that whole mode sometimes of wanting to dance, celebrate, real creative mode. And so this card's coming up. This is kind of the overriding energy for this reading for you, is that there's this part of you, maybe I'm feeling like you're looking for, some joy in your life. And I'm going to use the word joy instead of happiness, because joy is kind of that childhood feeling that we have of just feeling content in our bodies. And so these 3 individuals are very creative, very much in their body, very much, using their body to celebrate. And so it's a real celebration of feminine energy. Feminine energy is all about being in your body, because we spend a lot of time up in our head, in our thought patterns, and we forget about the body, which is the body holds all our emotions. There's a lot going on in our body, and that's why when things get kind of stuck in our body, when energy gets stuck in our body, it comes out, manifests itself in the body somehow. And so this is a real month for you to really look at, what sort of things bring joy to you in this month, and that's kind of the overriding energy. And so let's begin with, what's happening here for you. What situation are you sitting in? Well, you're sitting with the 7 of Wands. And the 7 of Wands is probably one of my favorite cards in the deck, because you see this individual that's very much alone. Very much alone. And I'm going to be honest with you, the healing journey is extremely, extremely lonely. You really do feel like you are alone. And I mean, essentially, you have to do this journey alone. There's no one. I mean, we tend to try to, hang on to people during our whole life, trying to get us back to the person that we are, our true authentic self. And that is what the healing journey is about. But there's no one else that can do it except you. And oftentimes when we decide to go on this journey, and when we're kind of pulled in that direction, we're also pulled by other people here below us. Because sometimes they can be jealous. Sometimes they're just uncomfortable with that new you and where you're going. Because you see, if they don't want to look at their own stuff, they're feeling that, that's what makes them uncomfortable, I think, is when they watch you and what you're doing, and they're kind of like, no, come back to where I am. And that's how a lot of times we have to let people go, because they just not come. Some people just can't come with you on your journey. So this is really a card of feeling invalidated by people around you, feeling unsupportive around people around you right now. And you know, it could be because it's the healing journey that you're on. And what's coming up, what's really, you know, giving me clarifying this is this card of, I believe it was in reverse here, but this Five of Pentacles card where you have these two individuals that are gladly dressed. They're not dressed for the weather. They need shoes. They need warmth, and yet they could, you know, go into this church next to them and ask to come in to warm up, and they don't feel worthy enough to do that. They just don't feel worthy. And so I'm seeing here that there's some unworthiness here that you're feeling that's coming up for you, and especially with the not feeling supported and not feeling validated, that is going to bring up all kinds of feelings of, you know, worth. It's really going to question your worth. And so I'm just going to pull one more card here for that. And here's the Tarot of the Abyss here. Just to clarify one more thing here. Maybe this worthiness card is unworthiness. Let's take a peek at that. What else can that? So what else can you tell me, Tarot, about this? This Five of Pentacles here. And yeah. The Seven of Swords. Wow. The Seven of Swords is it's in reverse here, and so it definitely tells me that this is really what's going on with you, this unworthiness. So the Seven of Swords is the Thief card. It's about somebody with all these swords that collects these swords, you know, steals them from people. And so swords are our mental energy, our mental thoughts, our mental thought patterns, the things that you tell yourself. You know, I'm not worthy enough. I'm less than. I'm not good enough. I'm stupid. Those are the kind of things that we grew up with. Some of us grew up with in our families. We were told that when we were younger. And these are the swords that we continue to tell ourselves as we grow older. And so I'm seeing here that this was the card that I needed to pull out here. And so definitely you are up in your head. You are very much feeling unworthy and telling yourself that you're just not worth it. And so what are you consciously aware of? What's the conscious influence on this situation? The conscious influence is this Knight of Swords here is in reverse. The knights in my deck are freedom fighters, I call them. They're the cards that come up that tell me that you're fighting for your freedom. You just want to be free. And this sword comes up, which is quite interesting because we just talked about swords. And sword speaks about our authenticity, who we are, also about our belief systems, right? Who we are, because we tend to tell ourselves that we're a certain individual, this is who we are, but it's not really who we are. You want freedom. You want freedom to go and find out and to know who you really are, because right now you're sitting with, I'm nothing. I feel like I'm nothing. I feel like I'm shit. I feel like, you know, all those things we can tell ourselves, but the conscious influence here is that, you know, you want the freedom to find out who you really are. So let's pull another card for this Knight of Swords right here. Yeah, well, the Knight of Wands comes in, and there's another knight. So you have two knights, a knight clarified by a knight. And the Knight of Wands is, again, like I said, it's a part of us. It's actually an adolescent part of us, and we all know what adolescents are like. Adolescents want freedom, and they just want to be themselves. This particular knight, he's a wand, and so he wants to be able to be creative. And that means, the creativity part means you want to be able to take your life in the direction you want to take it. You want to be able to do what you want to do. And so you have two knights here. So really sensing here this freedom to wanting to do it. And the fact that the Knight of Swords is in reverse tells me that you're sitting with A significant amount of hopelessness here. Feeling like, is this it? Is this everything? I'm going to be stuck here. And feeling you could feel some anger as well. Because if you think of a teenager, and if you tell them no, just think of how angry they can get. And if they can't express that anger, if they're not allowed to, then they turn that inwards, and that's where the depression comes out. And so you could be sitting with that. Now, what is coming up in your shadow that really is the biggest influence? We think that this is the biggest influence. The conscious part of us is what we know, but it's not the biggest one. And you can look it up online, but the actual percentage of anything that we're going through, the conscious part of us, the influence that it has, I think it's kind of like, I've even seen like 5% influence, whereas what's in our unconscious has like 95%. I'm not sure, I forget what the percentages is, but whatever is hidden in your shadow is having the biggest influence by far of this feeling of unworthiness, of invalidated, you're not feeling supported, and this spinning. So what I find here, what you have is the Six of Cups here. And the Six of Cups, it's in reverse because it really needs some attention here. And this card is an exchange of a cup here. It's an older person giving a cup to a young child. And it's a 6, and 6s in my deck have a duality to them, all of them. And so in this, the duality in this one is this giving, and then you have the other side of it is the receiving, right? Giving and receiving. And this little child here, this is your inner child. This card represents your inner child. There really needs to be on your part, what you don't see and what needs healing right now, is a relationship that needs to start with your inner child, where you are going to be willing to ask your inner child, get in touch with your inner child, and listen to them, and listen to what they want, what they need from you, because it's now you, no one else can do this. It's now you that has to parent your own inner child and give them what they need, because they couldn't get this when they were younger. And so I'm seeing here that there is in your shadow, there is a need here, and it was in reverse. And I think there's a real resistance on your part to getting in touch with your inner child. And that could come from a few reasons. Maybe there's a part of you, could be your ego self, that's telling you that, this whole thing about inner child is bullshit, that there's no such thing. There just could be a fear. Sometimes we have a fear to go inwards and get in touch with our inner child. Maybe we're afraid of what they're going to say to us. Maybe they're going to be angry at us because we've ignored them for so long. I remember those were some of my fears for sure when I started getting in touch with my own inner child. And so let me clarify the Six of Cups here. I have 3 cards that want to come out here. So you have the King of Wands in reverse, the Chariot card, and the King of Pentacles. I'm going to say right now, you have 2 kings here that came out. And the king of my deck is represents the masculine side of us, which is our ego self. We all have a feminine side and we all have a masculine side, and both of them have qualities, and most of us live in our ego self. And we have forget about and repressed our feminine side. But the ego self here is really strong in your shadow, which tells me that there really is a strong block to wanting you to go inwards and getting in touch with your inner child. There's really I can see like there's some messages up here that don't want you to get in touch with your inner child. And in between the king here is this Chariot card. And the Chariot speaks of this individual that's standing on these, I think they're either geese or swans. I'll call them geese for now. And he's holding on, or she's holding on to the reins, right? And at any particular moment, these two geese could separate and they obviously would fall. And so there is a real holding on here, like almost like, I'm going to say, your will, your control. You're trying to control these geese here. And so I think for a long time, you've really tried to control things with your mind, when what you need to do is start to go inwards and start a relationship with your inner child and get out of your mind and back and start to understand why you're feeling this unworthiness, because your inner child feels unworthy. And you need to get in contact with them and start having a dialogue with them, start to journal with them. And what's needed for resolution here? Well, the Ace of Pentacles comes out. The Ace is a gift. The Ace is a real gift from the universe. It's on offer here. And the body, the Pentacle, is all about the body. It represents, anything to do with your workspace, anything to do with your health. And it also represents your self-worth. And so the universe here says, it's time for you to learn how to ground and get back into your body. The resolution here is to accept that it's time for you to start paying attention to this part of you below your neck. It's your body. And in there, it has so much in there. Rather than staying up in your head and telling yourself how unworthy you are, start to get into your body and start feeling some of these feelings of unworthiness that you have. And that's what the universe wants you. That's the resolution here. I'll pull one more card. For the Ace of Pentacles, the Five of Swords comes out here. And the Five of Swords is this child here. He has these pins. And this really stresses like the power of somebody can have over something else or someone else. I always call this my bullying card. And at any particular moment, he knows he can lift the lid off this jar and take his pin, and it sounds kind of gruesome, but and kill this butterfly. Like, he knows it's very, it's weak. It's a lot weaker than he is, and he knows he's got complete and utter power over this butterfly. And so this card, I always look at it from, because I call it a bullying card, I always look at it from the perspective of the victim here, the butterfly. Because that butterfly, and you're the butterfly wanting to be free, but you have so much unworthiness and so much shame. This is a card of shame. This is a card of that individual that was the victim. And so it's time. The universe really wants you to get in touch with your unworthiness, to get back into your body, get in touch with your unworthiness. And so what's the guidance from the tarot? Where does the guidance want you to go now? Here's the Ten of Pentacles, and it's in reverse. Because there's something here that the tarot wants you to discover. This is in reverse here, which tells me that it's kind of hidden. And the tarot wants you to heal this card, and let me explain it to you. On this particular card, there are 3 generations. You have an older man at the front and has this magical coat on. And then you have another generation here. And then you have like the grandkids, right? There's one child here, right over here. And so it looks like, 3 generations. So it's definitely depicting the sense of generations. There's a magical wand right here, just leaning against this side of this building here. And, no one's really paying attention to it. No one's really paying attention to the power of something. And you can walk through this building here and, have a different perspective on something. But what's really interesting about this card is this little map here that's made with this design made with these pentacles. And it's in the shape of a Kabbalistic tree of life, which was from the Jewish culture. And it is really a map of life for them. And each node would represent, they would study it And it would really help them get back to the roots of who they are, where they came from. And so the universe says this is in reverse for you. The universe wants you to start to delving into your roots, where you came from. And in particular, this card, because it's generation card, it speaks to me of generational trauma. And it's the trauma, the shame that's been handed down to us from generation to generation. And everybody has trauma on a continuum. You know, I don't know if I said it at the beginning, but I have complex trauma, and I'm somebody that knew I had some trauma, but I didn't know I had a lot of trauma. And so what this card is kind of saying is it's time now to start to heal, to look at and start to heal some of this this trauma that you have, generational trauma, and it's from your childhood. This unworthiness came from, you know, how you felt as a child. So now the joy card, how it comes into play here is that I think this unworthiness that you're feeling, because I'm getting a really big sense of this whole reading is about really get back into your body and starting to look at your unworthiness, because that is what's preventing you from having joy in your life. So I'm going to leave you with that, and I think I want to leave you with a playlist on shame, because shame is the emotion we carry because of our unworthiness, and that causes our unworthiness actually. So take care, Taurus, and I'll talk soon. Bye.